San Francisco.
He has nearly 40 years of broadcasting in Northern California. The voice of the San Francisco 49ers, Greg Papa. Sponsored by Sunpoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard of the public adjusting industry.
A chance to win it with a stop.
Oh, okay. Joining us right now.
He takes it. He turns. He gives to Kyron Williams. He gets packed. I think he's short, Tim. I think he's short. And the 49ers stormed the field. It is all over. The 49ers have won it in overtime here in L.A.
So, okay. Joining us right now, my apologies. It was so funny last night as I was watching Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Because, look, Greg Papa is one of the greatest play-by-play announcers in history, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that. And he is a name that is known throughout the nation. But as I'm watching the intro on Sunday Night Football and they were using Greg Papa calls for the 49ers end, it was like watching like my brother or sister or something on. I'm pointing at the TV to my wife and it's Greg. We can talk to him tomorrow. I was so excited. And then, as always, I'm so excited to bring him on. He is so kind to join us each and every week. The voice of your 49ers.
Yeah.
A national household name, I would say now, of course. Greg Papa. Good morning, Mr. Papa.
For the old and retired, the deceased guys. It was Guy Haberman when they did the recap of the Jacksonville game. It was Guy's calls, and Guy had a great call at the end there. I think we're going to get him on my radio show. Guy's a friend of mine. I've known him for a number of years. We worked together at 95.7 when he was with John Middlecoff, John London. I did a show right around there. As my son produced Guy's show, and Guy's a friend. So when he texted me, as much as anybody outside of my family during my ordeal, he's constant. And he was texting me all day, yesterday. He was upbeat, about the Niners finding a way to win. I got to tell you, I didn't see it. I had to close my eyes and try to come up with a scenario where it would happen. But we saw it, and it was the brilliance of Kyle Shanahan and the play calling, those first two drives to get out 14-0. Wow. And then he dusted off some old plays. There was a Hollywood play that he runs for George Kittle that he actually stole from his dad. Mike Shanahan ran it with Steve Young years ago to Dr. John Frank at tight end, and he did it with Kittle in L.A. It's called a Hollywood play where you fake a screen left, you fake a screen right, and you throw over the middle to Kittle. And the way they call it Hollywood, because it was in L.A. where they ran it for the first time. But they wanted George to overact and actually fall down to the ground. And George is like, I can't go to the ground and get back up. There's not enough time. And then they ran it against Seattle a few years ago for a touchdown. And I love play repeaters when a coach goes back to one. And they ran it with McCaffrey on it wasn't a jet sweep. It was a jet pass action. Later in the game on the flea flicker, but this one, it was McCaffrey going in motion, fake left to McCaffrey, fake right going the other way. Mack didn't hold the fake too long going right because I think the Rams front was on him, and Jake Tonjes just a beat, and then over. There wasn't a big gainer; it gained like 9 yards, but that's Kyle. Those two opening drives, wow. Then the touchdown drive, they did run the jet pass, reverse flea flicker, screen. Normally that's a deep shot down the field, but DeMarcus Robinson, it was the only receiver running deep, didn't even run a route. That was clearly going to be a screen. And that was a play the Niners ran last year to George Kittle for a touchdown on Sunday Night Football. A reverse flea flicker screen to Kittle going right, and it was a touchdown. The Lions ran it earlier in the day to Laporta. And I was watching it. George saw it, texted his tight end coach, Brian Fleury, and should we call the play off? The Lions just ran the same play. Are the Cowboys watching? No, they're not watching. So, and then, just then the play on the goal line, McCaffrey's touchdown, that was what is known as 23 personnel. 2 running backs, 3 tight ends on the field, no wide receivers. Just brilliant. And what that does, it forces the Rams and Chris Shula, their defensive coordinator, to match up with a heavy package. And they got the guy on the field that I wanted to tackle all night, Troy Reader, but he's in a sub package now. And he had to cover McCaffrey. out of the slot with a little rub action and an out cut, and Mac Jones's ball placement on that was just incredible. So it was Kyle's brain. It was Mac Jones's entire body, starting with his brain, seeing it, his ball placement on half a body. Bill Walsh used to always talk about that. It's got to be in the right hand. It can't be in the – if the ball's going, in an out cut going to the left, and you got to hit the left hand on the out. You can't put it back half a body. It can't be back to the right. And Mac does it Stafford-like over and over and over again. Just impeccable ball placement. But then the heart that he showed, I'm not coming out of this game, where his entire body was just beat up from the left knee to the left calf. I think his brace, when he took that shot, went down, and the brace on the knee, dug into his calf. I don't know. He won't tell anybody about injuries. And then obviously he had the forearm, he had the ribs. He's eating a banana over on the sideline to get more potassium in his body. It's just, wow. He is Mac Daddy. He is Mac the Knife. I mean, he walks in wearing that red and black suit. It's like, what? He has got a lot of swag, but the guy's got old school toughness. He would not come off the field. So how did they win? And obviously the defense, so many timely plays, goal line stands, takeaways, just all of it. But it was Kyle Shanahan's brain and the ability to design and call and Mac to execute. They had to hold on, boys, but getting off to that 14-0 lead took some plays that they dusted off for other people. You don't have Kittle out there to run them. We're going to run them, to Jake Tonjes. We're going to run them to Christian McCaffrey, and we're going to figure out a way to get it done. But what a game last night. One of the most fun games we've had a chance to watch. And I don't watch them. I normally broadcast them, but to watch the game last night and Guy called it, it was just extraordinary.
Yeah, huge win for them, Greg. And you're talking about Mac Jones. I'm thinking how well he's played to go 3-0, and all this is like, it feels like it's buying time for Brock Purdy to get healthy. I know they got 10 days, but if Purdy can't go next week, will Mac Jones be able to go? Looked like he was barely alive at the end of that game.
He'll be able to go. One of them will. It just goes back and forth. And I didn't know, because Mac got really hit in the Jacksonville game. Quarterback's getting hit too much. And the first half, the protection was good, but right away in the third quarter, Jared Verse just starts jumping inside on Trent. Trent played better last night. And then you got Byron Young on the other side, and they just hit the hell out of him. They know, even though that brace he was wearing the brace outside of his football pants against Jacksonville, because it was right in the middle of the game when he re-aggravated the left posterior cruciate ligament. But they know, and they're just trying to hit him. And they hit his whole body. They hit him hard. They drive him and trying to knock him out of the game. That's football. So, but he gets up and he comes back in. One of them will play at Tampa Bay. There's no doubt. And it's just, who's the best backup quarterback in the NFL right now? Jimmy Garoppolo's a good one, sitting on the Rams bench, but Stafford just doesn't come out. They can win with Jimmy if Jimmy has to go in. There's no doubt. But Mac Jones is 3-0. The way he's been able to play to win these games has been extraordinary. And so they'll figure it out. They got 10 days. The bye this year is so late in the year. So this is kind of like a mini bye, and the players will have the entire weekend off, and Kyle will, watch Tampa Bay play in Seattle. And they got some commonality, obviously, with Kubiak running their offense, how they'll play, Seattle's offense is very similar to the Niners. So they'll figure it out. I know we want to create a quarterback controversy here, and that's kind of where the franchise has always been. And long before Joe and Steve, it was Frankie Albert and Y.A. Tittle and John Brody, and it went on forever and ever and ever. That's just the way. But if you don't have a good backup, honestly, if this was last year, would they have been able to find a way to win? With the backup quarterback. If it was 2 years ago, I think Sam Darnold could have got it done. But let's just be glad that Mac Jones was out there. They could get him so inexpensively for a 2-year contract. And to this point, he is saving your year. You're still in first place, 4-1 in the division. You're in first place in the NFC West, and Mac Jones has 3 of those victories.
Voice of the Niners, Greg Papa, joining us. And I want to run this by you. It's a perfect segue. Jason and I were talking about about a week ago, was odds to win Coach of the Year, early odds, and all the Andy Reids, the Siriannis, the Kyle Shanahans, the Sean McVays, they were all at the bottom. It was, they tend to lean towards the up and comers that are doing something with nothing, like Coach Steichen with the Colts, etc.
Right.
And I'm thinking, after last night, and you make the point with Mac Jones, who, if he didn't play another snap this season, and if he wasn't under team control next year, would make a pile of money in the offseason, as Sam Darnold did. Kyle Shanahan's dad, we talk about it all the time, was famous for the Orlando Scary Mike Anderson plug-and-play running backs. And it almost seems like Kyle is becoming like that with quarterbacks, whether it's Darnold, whether it's Jones, whether it's the last pick in the entire draft. Greg, I would love for somebody to make a case that Kyle Shanahan is not right now the NFL Coach of the Year.
Well, I don't know if he'll win the award.
He won't.
What you say, and it doesn't matter. It's happened. So many great coaches, have won, one Coach of the Year. How many times Belichick won it?
Right.
So he's won 6 Super Bowls, 6 Lombardis. But I made the point on my radio show a couple of weeks ago, actually, before the Jacksonville game, when they were 3-0. I asked the question, and I had my thoughts, obviously, that is Kyle coaching the best right now? And I would say to start a year, yes. They were 20 in 2019. They were 8-0. 23, they were 5-0. But those teams were just so loaded. The 2019 team had that gold rush defense, and losing Joe Staley to an injury in week 2 in Cincinnati compromised some of it, but they were just so much better. The defense just dominated. And the 23 team, when they got off to the 5-0 start, it was the whole team. They were top 5 in both, and they were 30 for Purdy, and some games 35. So the 1 year, 2021, we were 3-5 going into a Monday night game on Veterans Day against the Rams. And Kyle told me before the game, if we lose this game, I'm gonna bench Jimmy and play Trey Lance. And he was going to start playing for the future. And that the game before, if you recall, Arizona came in and just annihilated the Niners, led by James Conner, and Colt McCoy beat them. And there were chalk outlines of Niner tacklers on the field. They just got trampled. So, but then that Veterans Day night game against the Rams, they didn't have any running backs, and they broke out Debo as a running back. They had dabbled in it, but they went 11 Tyson and Deadpool, which was the formation with Debo, and Debo just ran. He just became a running back, and he also caught a big 4th down, ran for a touchdown, and wow, the whole year flipped. So Kyle saved that year. Now, ultimately, they came down to losing a championship game in L.A., but they were so tired. They had to win all those road games to get in. So that year, I thought Kyle coached the best he's ever coached to save the year, but it was at midseason. I would say to start a year, this is the best we've seen from him. The quarterback back and forth is one thing. I think you have 2 capable quarterbacks that can run his offense, so that's fine. But the 5 eligibles around him, there are honestly times I don't know who's on the field. Like Braden Willis, is he number 82 or is he 9? Oh, no, Sky Moore's 9. It's like I don't know who's out there. Honestly, I don't know, and I'm not calling the games anymore. But I keep a handle on. McCaffrey's out there all the time. Juszczyk, missed the entire game just about. You don't have Kittle except for early in Seattle. Sharon Jennings is in and out. Demarcus Robinson wasn't there the first 3 games of the year. Obviously, Ayuk's not there. It's just, who are these guys? Ricky's there, but then Ricky's not there. And then, so I think, it's been the eligibles. The quarterbacks, yeah, that's hard. But I think with Mac Jones just being so smart and just the guy just sees the field and his ball placement is state of the art. The only thing he's not is a great athlete, and he can't run away from pressure, and they hit him. He does get it out most of the time early enough to avoid the sack. He took some bad ones at the end of the overtime and had to kick the field goal, but he just gets pummeled. He's getting hit all the time. That's not good. And Brock's running around and, got hit too much in Seattle. But it's been the 5 eligibles on offense that have just constantly changing. And some of these guys don't know the play. You see Kyle getting all mad. Sky Moore doesn't know where to line up. And, well, it's hard. They just, they just got here. Valdez-Scantling just got here. Who are these guys? Demarcus Robinson was here and he went away. So you would think there would be just more formation, and they're taking a lot of timeouts in first halves and games because they can't get lined up. But when they do, they execute it at a high enough level. I think a lot of it was early in the year, Dave, that Salah's back, and Salah, hell, you wouldn't even vote Kyle the coach of the year on his own staff.
Mm-hmm.
They would have given it to Salah for what he's doing with the young defense and all that. So he's not going to win coach of the year. But from my eyes, this is the best he has coached. Maybe not ever in any one point in a year, but I think to start a year, to keep this team from falling back and to be 4-1 first place and all the road wins, all the division wins, all the different 5 eligibles, I think this is the best he's coached.
Yeah, Greg, the advantage of sweeping the first half of the division games is incredible, and they got 3 more against those division teams. But you did bring up Salah and the defense. They made 2 of the biggest plays, certainly the punch out at the goal line and then the game-winning stop. From the Rams side of things, all the times you've called games on the Niners side watching the Rams, did McVay going forward after he tried to draw him offside surprise you, and or the play call surprise you?
No, I think they needed to go for it. In my mind, last night's game when you got into overtime, and now, it's 10 minutes. So you're going to see ties, whether it's, 40-40 ties or 20-20 ties, you're going to see ties. The 10 minutes goes by fast. From my perspective, I don't know how they felt, but I think the way they coached it on both sides, a tie last night for the Niners was acceptable. You wanted to win the game, but you would have accepted a tie. You're so ravaged by injuries. You're playing in their house. You're going to get guys back when you play them again in a couple of weeks. It's going to be at Levi's. So this is a mulligan. Let's just move on. We'll take a tie. From the Rams' perspective, no. I think for everything that I just said, from our perspective, they needed to win the game. So I think the 4th and 1 at the end, plus even if they kick that field goal and tie the game, the Niners have time to come back and beat them.
Right.
So I think they needed to go for it. I just think they made the wrong play call. They're known for their tight, condensed formations, but they pass out of those a lot. And what they do is Puka Nacua is so unguardable because they do what is called insert him, where he motions inside and he blocks in the C gap, which is between the tackle and the tight end. I see him do it over and over and over again. They've always had great blocking wide receivers, whether it was Robert Woods back in the day or Cooper Kupp or now Puka. They ask their wide receivers to block like the 49ers ask their receivers to block. No block, no rock. And Nacua does it all the time. On this particular play, they did it with Jordan Whittington, number 88. And he's the one who motioned inside, and he blocked out of the C gap. So when you see all that on a 4th and 1, now to me the play call would have been show that, play action pass, pop out of it, and do your Ram thing. But if you're a defender lining up, and see what Fred Warner did, he came in and blasted Whittington out of the play, just shouldered him and knocked him back. Chase Lucas was on the field. Chase Lucas hardly played last night. I don't know why he was in there over Jair Brown. I'm trying to find out. But Chase Lucas with the Amador Lenore as the outside corner there, Chase was tighter at safety, was telling him, when you see Whittington move at 88 moves, that insert action, you just fire in the C gap. Just go and blow it up. And he did. And then they all did. And then the big boys got in there. Alfred Collins got in there, and Michael, and I from the Rand. And Sean McVay, to his credit, he was pissed. And he said, I cost my team the game. I'm sick about it. Not because he went for it on 4th down. He didn't really go for it. He went to this conservative play call. And Kyron Williams is a big, tough. Well, he's small, but he breaks tackles. But how many tackles you got to break in that situation? The Niners, big-bodied D linemen with their secondary guys like Lucas and Demo fitting it in there. Bad play call. I mean, we saw it before, and I'm like, are they going to run that again? And they did. Where the play would have been to play action or just line up like that, and then boop, everybody goes out and disperse and flex out of it like the Niners did on McCaffrey's touchdown. The Niners on that play ran 23 personnel, 2 running backs, 3 tight ends. They had no wide receivers on the field. When have they ever done that? And then they spread out of it. They didn't even stay tight. And they forced a linebacker to cover in space. So the play there would have been to do some kind of action like that. And then Alfred Collins' punch out against Kyron Williams was just massive. And I have to tell you, Alfred looked like somebody who may just not fit here. You didn't see him in the OTAs. He had a lingering injury. And it was just, is this guy going to be a player? And now he's been playing more and playing better. Now with the injury to Kalia Davis, he may play more. But he's got long arms. His arms are 35 inches long. He's got an 85-inch wingspan. His hands are 10 inches wide. And the punch was impressive. What a punch. But it was putting himself in a position to punch the ball out on the goal line. It wasn't like Fred against Alvin Kamara when Jair Brown was standing him up and he could just speed bag it. It was, how did Alfred Collins get in there and have the power? And he punched it, boom, and then he recovered it. I mean, there's so many big plays that they made, but that was a huge play. I mean, we go back to the Dre Greenlaw play in Seattle, the big play Dre on Jacob Hollister. That was a different kind of play. I mean, Dave, you're old enough to remember the goal line stand from Super Bowl 16 in Detroit against the Bengals. And that was Dan Buns who made a big play on a play earlier, but it was that goal line stand. Not at the very end of the game, by the way. It was Ronnie Lott, it was Hacksaw Reynolds, all those bodies in there, but that was a huge, huge play. So, yes, I was surprised that the Rams, not that they went forward on 4th and 1, because I think their mindset is we win this game, we don't accept a tie. It's just the way that they got everything tight and just kind of ran right into the teeth of the Niners defense.
We are 1,000,000,000% out of time, but I don't care. There's no way I'm letting you off the phone at least once a week. I'm going to ask, how are you doing, Greg?
I'm doing well. This is a busy week. I actually went in Tuesday and did a lumbar puncture where they shoot chemo. They shoot methotrexate, which is the heavy stuff. They alternate back and forth into my spinal column fluid. So, and they also, when they do that, they extract 3 vials of fluid before they chemo me. And they analyze it, and again, no signs of leukemia in that area, 0. So I'm good. I'm still in remission, but I'm gonna, I need to get more. I'm gonna relapse. So today, I hope I will get through all the 4 hours of my radio show. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna go into UCSF at some point today. They call you between 10 and 12, and it's all based on availability of beds. And I'm sure, Jason, you went through this in your life with your son. And so I think I'm going to get a call between 10 and 12 saying come in sometime today. And that's what happened to me about a month ago. So good timing. Niners played last night, do the show today, and then I'll watch football. The Bills are on Sunday Night Football and watch them all. And watch baseball. We got the Yankees, Blue Jays are going to be so good and so many great matchups, obviously. But I anticipate doing the radio show today. If I do all 4 hours, we'll see. But at some point, I'll get a call saying, hopefully, come to UCSF. We got a bed for you. And then it'll be cycle B of chemo, and I'll probably do it 3 nights there and maybe come home on Monday and then get set for the donor. I maybe shouldn't say this on the air because we haven't told them yet, but I think it's going to be my younger sister that's actually going to do it and not my older brother. But we'll find out. I think we'll know more. And the plan is to do the bone marrow stem cell transplant in, I think right around November the 15th would be the time I would do that. So thanks for asking. I'm doing great. I'm still in remission. And my white blood cell numbers were good. My boss, Bob Sargent, who hired me at the Niners, I can't even call him my boss. He's a lifetime friend. Actually came over and watched the Niner game with me last night, which was surreal to watch it with him. And I had somebody do play-by-play too last night. I had an audience of 1. And it's kind of like what it always is. It's always my boss. If he doesn't like what I'm doing, I'm not going to talk to anybody else. So it's kind of the same. So we were able to watch it. But this time, normally he's behind me for home games, making the face and getting upset. Now we were able to socially distance, even though my white blood cell numbers are great. And he's yelling, we're yelling. And I got to tell you, at the end of the game last night, I was worn out. my head was going to lift off my skull. But it was fun to watch the game last night with Bob Sargent.
Well, we love you, Greg, and we never take for granted you coming on with us, and we appreciate you opening up that part of your life, and we're obviously all living on every word. So we will. Interesting. Next week is mini bye week. We always love our bye weeks with Greg Papa because that's story time with Uncle Greg, and we're looking forward to catching up with you next week, and as long as you're willing throughout the season. So thank you, and have a wonderful weekend, and really good luck today if you get that bed.
I thank you so much, Jace. I think of you often when I go through this, what you went through with your son, and he's healthy and doing great. So anyway, next week we'll be getting ready to go to Tampa.
Yes.
That's right.
And we'll see what they do. I mean, they're 3-1. They got Seattle on the weekend. We'll watch all the games, but probably keep both eyes on that Tampa at Seattle game. Baker Mayfield against Sam Darnold. So a lot to talk about next week as they get ready to go to I hate that pirate ship. So I think I'm glad. Most of these trips, not going to New Orleans, not going to Seattle, not going to SoFi. Damn. Tampa's not one that I rank real high.
I agree. That's Greg Papa, voice of the Niners.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, Greg.
You too.
He's the best. He's the absolute best, and we are absolutely honored to have him each and every week. It's Greg Papa, again, the voice of your San Francisco 49ers. We'll take a break. When we come back, Trex Decking and Railing brings you